Hello, welcome to Podcassidy. I am here with the wonderful, the beautiful Kait Arndt.
Hello. I am so happy to be here. This is actually my first LinkedIn Live too, so thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so excited.
We love that. We love being a 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, have you gone to a LinkedIn Live or it's your first time being on one?
So I've definitely been in comment sections and hung out on LinkedIn Lives, but I've never been had the little red you're live and here's you and you're a guest before.
Ooh, okay, first time in the spotlight.
Uh-huh.
I dropped a little something in my Discord mentioning that I was gonna be on you and Maggie's podcast. And that we're filming it tomorrow.
Yes, totally. I was gonna say that folks should check out the Honestly Though Maggie and Kait podcast, specifically because Cassidy is joining us tomorrow to record, and her episode will come out next week. I'm excited.
Tell us about the podcast. What is it about?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's about honesty. And Maggie and I talk a lot about the kind of honest conversations that you don't typically find in corporate American spaces. So we try not to just talk about corporate because there's a lot of people who kind of experience a lot of things and need more honesty in their life or outside of corporate America. But we're both really interested in the corporate space. So we do focus there a lot. And we just had Cassie Butler. If you don't know her, she was our guest.
I love Cassie.
Yeah.
You've been on Podcassidy twice now.
Amazing. Yeah. So we had her on the show and talked about bringing your whole self to work and what does that even mean? And is it bogus? How do you do it? That kind of stuff. So those are the kind of things we cover.
Has there been a topic that has stuck out to you that maybe you didn't necessarily expect to come up that you guys were able to talk about?
So for me, that topic is dishonest harmony. Dishonest harmony is something I was having a dramatic moment and an experience, and I kind of came upon it, I think on YouTube Shorts or something from a creator I follow, and it resonated so much with what I was going through. And I texted Maggie and I'm like, this situation that I'm telling you about right now, it's like this video. We need to cover dishonest harmony on the podcast. And so we did that. And dishonest harmony to me, I want to write a whole book about it. It's fascinating. And I think when we talk about corporate greed and consolidation of power and all these kind of topics and how people stay stuck in it, so much of it for me relates to dishonest harmony and people doing things that they think they have to do to stay safe or to keep their health insurance, because that's just the reality we live in, and all those things. So.
Yep. No, that makes sense. That's very cool. What else do you have going on? Well, okay. Do we want to talk about your story? I feel like when I first came across you on LinkedIn, you were still in a role, and I believe your husband had just gotten screwed over by Tesla, or It might have been just before that we connected. So it was a little bit ago.
Yeah. Let's do that. So I was thinking about that and I was like, where do we want to start with my story? So I'm a storyteller. Folks that don't know, that's what I do. And I want to just talk a little bit about how I got there and what storytelling even means to me. So I'm going to start way back in the beginning. In high school, I had an American history teacher, super fascinating guy, really got me interested in being a citizen. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to go to Purdue University. I'm from the suburbs of Chicago. Purdue is a state school in rural Indiana. And I was like, I'm going to go to Purdue because they have this amazing secondary education program specifically for social studies education. And I'm going to become that American history teacher that inspired me. And so I spent my first year of college kind of geeking out with other people who were interested in civics and all those kinds of things, and learned about myself really quickly that what I enjoy is sitting down with people who see similar problems in the world, but like vehemently disagree about the best ways to solve those problems and having conversations with them. And I got to do that a lot at Purdue because there were a lot of people who just grew up really differently than me, saw the world really differently than me. And it was so much fun. And that's, I met my husband at Purdue, and he grew up really differently than me and saw the world differently than me too. And so I started getting to the point where I realized during student teaching, like, I don't actually want to stand in front of teenagers all day. That sounds not fun. So I transitioned into English. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I will still get to like read and absorb ideas and then write and share my own ideas and my own interpretations of what I'm thinking. And so I graduated in that headspace. And I graduated in 2010, so coming out of the recession. And, the prevailing notion at that time is writers don't make any money. So you better do something not writing. You better do something else. And so I did. I ultimately ended up going to school to get my MBA, which was a really expensive piece of paper. Do not recommend. But did very well. I mean, I enjoyed my classes. I did everything they tell you not to do while you're doing an MBA. I got married and had 2 kids. I gave birth to my daughter the day before I presented my capstone project. So I did it all wrong, but it worked out right. And so kind of fell into marketing that way. Just what can I do with my writing, storytelling skill set that I can actually make a living. And, if I could go back to that old self, I would have been like, yes, you can make money writing. Don't take no for an answer. Follow your passion and do your thing. But I also have no regrets because I spent 12 years in corporate, the first 8 or so of which I was the sole breadwinner in my family. So I had a lot of pressure to make it work. My husband was a stay-at-home dad. He homeschooled our kids. That's what we wanted. We wanted our kids to get to spend that time together and that time with their dad. So I had a lot of pressure to make it work, and I did. And so I climbed the ladder pretty high, and then right around COVID, as I think many people can relate to, things just started changing for me. I had never really enjoyed corporate necessarily. I mean, I'm the kind of person where I'm like really, really sensitive. So in toxic workplaces, when everyone would be feeling it, but most people could like cope with it. And I was always the one that ended up crying with tissues to HR and just like couldn't help it. And so, it wasn't like sunshine and rainbows or anything, but I made it work. And so I got to the director level, and then I just was like, I just can't do this anymore. And that kind of led to eventually my husband saying, okay, it's my turn. And he is a car guy. He's been into cars since he was a little kid. So he was like, I'm going to, he's got an associate's degree in automotive technology, whatever. I'm going to go do my thing in automotive. But he had been out of it for 10 years. He also, we're both kind of, climate aware people. And so he wanted to like go into EVs because he believes those are the future and that kind of thing. And so he decided to go work at Tesla. So I feel like I took the golden handcuffs off myself in corporate because I was just so disillusioned. And I was like, here you go, husband, have like the gaudiest pair available from Tesla. And so he did that, and he was really successful. For the first year, they called him Mitch the Machine. And that should have been our like 500th clue, but
red flag.
Yeah, totally. So but he was promoted 3 times, and like for someone who had been out of the workforce for 10 years to like come into this company that paid really well, the health insurance was free, like it just whatever, it was really good, and he was promoted a lot, and he was very successful and whatever. And then Elon started going bananas. I mean, not that he wasn't already bananas when Mitch started in 2023, he was, but like he went really off the deep end in 2025 in a way that we weren't expecting. And that kind of caused things to change at Tesla, which caused Mitch's reaction at Tesla to change. And basically he started saying, he was like, well, I have to stand up against what is happening, not in the public arena, but at his shop specifically, that was related to the things that were happening in the broader environment. And I said, you're right, you do, but be careful. And he was like, I don't got to be careful. I'm a white guy. I'm like so talented. They love me. I'm going to be just fine. And I said, no, you're not. Because this is what corporate does to, it doesn't matter what you look like or who you are. I mean, it does. Their discrimination is real. But if you push back against companies like Tesla, you should expect to get your head cut off. And he did. And so he got fired retaliatorily last November. And I basically spent the entire last summer just like firing away messages at people who I had expected my inner circle, like my colleagues who were all into storytelling. I had recently worked at a company whose mission statement is, we believe in the authentic voices of real people, especially those too often left out of the conversation, to change the world. And I was like, look, working people getting their head cuts off by Tesla, they're left out of the conversation. Let's lift up their voices and change the world. And my colleagues were like, no. Elon Musk, no one will ever take him on. Too much risk, not enough reward. This was early 2025. People were really scared. And so, so whatever. So we did that. And then also all summer I was firing off emails to HR to fight this retaliatory final written warning that he had gotten that was completely like made up and not real. And so every day I would send HR letters proving them of like why this latest thing they said was not real, and I would sign them all off, but thank you for your attention to this matter. And it was really fun and petty. So anyway, that is my story. That's who I am. That's where I've been. That was really long. Sorry.
No, like it was long, but like you said, you're a storyteller, so it didn't feel long. It literally felt like we were just like along the journey for you. And like I see people in the comments like they're rallying for you, Kait.
Oh,
they're like, speak for HR. Kait's a boss. Like they know that you're doing what's right.
Oh, that's awesome, folks. I'm trying to. Oh, I see the comments here too. So now I can see you. Hello, everyone.
Yeah. I know. We have Drew and Kevin and Max and Ken and Anna and Tasha. We have so many people. I can't even like list every single person here. We would spend 5 minutes just doing that.
Well, I see one particular comment that I need to comment on. Drew, I'm sorry you had your head cut off too. And to anyone else here who relates to that, my inbox is always open. It was the most, if it hadn't been for LinkedIn, and the weird LinkedIn community, especially, it in every other way, except for that community, it was the most isolating experience of my life. So no one understood. Everyone was like, stop sending emails to HR and you'll be fine. Like it was so isolating. So if you've gone through it, and you need to talk to somebody or you want to talk to somebody, I get it. I believe you. You're not the problem and you can talk to me.
So when I was talking to someone just yesterday and I was telling them that you're coming on the podcast, and I told them, I was like, you're one of those people that is like, corporate America fucking sucks, but it doesn't need to be. Like we are making it suck.
Yeah.
And I felt like you may appreciate that as being like a overall view of just like presenting yourself on here.
Yeah, I do. And I'm glad you talked about that because I think, sometimes people who are really opinionated, really outspoken, really critical of corporate America, and also honestly, people who talk about things that make people uncomfortable. And like, I can speak about, I did a lot of things and participated in a lot of things and was silently complicit in a lot of things that I'm not proud of. When I look back on my career, I'm like, damn it, why didn't I say more sooner? Like, why didn't I do that? And so I have so much empathy for people who feel stuck and feel trapped. And I think that people who talk about topics like that, it can be really alienating. It's often seen as really divisive, and it's almost always perceived as like super negative. But if I didn't believe that corporate America could be better, and if I didn't have hope that corporate America will be better, and that the future leaders and the future teams that will make up what corporate America is, like, they will be better. It's going to get better. If I didn't believe that, I would never talk about profitability on the internet ever again. I'm working now as a library aide at my daughter's school during the day. I would write in my journal and work on novels, and I would never talk about profitability on LinkedIn again. Microsoft is stupid. I don't even like LinkedIn. But I have so much hope for the future. So that's why I'm here. So yeah.
Yeah. Max said Kait is a Cassidy clone for real.
That's awesome. I love that.
No, I believe it because no, that's what drew me to you, and why I was like, I need to bring Kait in front of my audience and talk about these things.
That's awesome.
When you were in corporate, what was like, was there something that pushed you to be like, okay, it's time for me to like hand it off to my husband? You might have mentioned what it was, and I might have forgotten it.
No, it was during COVID, and I didn't get into, so basically I had moved to North Carolina for a job in 2019. And before that, I lived in the suburbs of Chicago, total city girl, didn't know where my food came from, like nothing like that. But when I moved to North Carolina, we bought a house, and it was on an acre of land. And I had friends in North Carolina, and we went to visit them. And when we were visiting them, my friend was like, I really want some coleslaw to go with whatever she was making for dinner. And I was like, that sounds amazing. Do you have the ingredients? And she's like, no, well, not right here in the kitchen. And I was like, oh, okay, like, let's go to the store. And she was like, no, let's go to my garden, and we'll just get the stuff we need, and we'll just come in here and make it. And so we did that. And on the way home, we're driving in the car for like 4 hours. And on the way home, I told my husband, I was like, I want a garden so that when we want to make something, we can just go outside and just get it. And so I'm autistic. I get like really intensely focused on my interests, and gardening became like I didn't just have a garden. I had a garden that became bigger than my 200 or 2,400 foot square house. And it became like my whole life. And that garden, for the first time, connected me with Mother Nature. Like, I had a real relationship with Mother Nature, and my kids were very young and were like, they were experiencing the outdoors, not just in the garden, but also in the Appalachian Mountains, which are incredibly beautiful. And I just like looked around, and I was like, I make all this money, and I have this huge house, and I'm sending Amazon shipments to it every day. And like, I don't even want any of this stuff. Like, I don't even, and I didn't, by then I was like, this is all bullshit. Like the company I was working at was like a challenger brand. It was like not quite a startup, but like not big either. And they were taking on the single-use water conglomerates, and, no single-use plastics. And we're going to do big 5-gallon jugs. And like, that was nice. I bought it. And then they sold out to the biggest manufacturer of single-use water bottles. And that was like so like profoundly disappointing, on top of a whole career of like just profoundly disappointing companies that did not live up to who they claimed to be on paper. And so it was this clash of like, what are my values, and what do I actually care about? And like, what do I actually want to prioritize in my life? And also this career that I have that's given me these things that I don't even know if I want, also just is totally out of line with like, I like the truth. I like clarity. I like if you're taking on single-use water bottle companies for real, you don't sell out to one just because you can. But that is not how business works. So like, it was just like marketing for me became something where I was like, I just can't do this anymore, because my job is to use words and stories to make companies attract customers so they can grow bigger and faster, but they don't even mean the things they're saying a lot of the time. And it's not always, I don't believe it's always done on purpose. I have a lot of respect for so many of the people that I worked with in the past. I don't think they were like liars and like cheats and stuff. I just think sometimes your values and then the things you build to try to get at those just don't match. And I could just see it too clearly. And I just felt too personally responsible as a marketer to keep doing it. And I didn't believe in it. And so I looked at my husband and I was like, I'm sorry, but like, I can't do this anymore. And at the time, I mean, I was making 6 figures and he was like, I'm a mechanic. I can't replace your salary on the drop of the hat. We had a mortgage, we had 2 cars. And we didn't really know what else to do. So we sold our house and we got an RV with the equity and he put solar on it and we traveled, for 3 years to take some time to try to figure it out without having that mortgage hanging over our head. Traveling is still expensive though. So it didn't actually suck. It wasn't actually like a good solution to the problem, but but we created beautiful memories as a family and we have no regrets. And it created the freedom and flexibility we needed for Mitch to then think about what he wanted to do. And as soon as he found the job at Tesla and got through that, then I was like, okay, actually I was still working. I actually got laid off from one of my last companies, which I love dearly. My manager and I are still good friends. And I got laid off. And when I got laid off, honestly, I was relieved because Mitch was working for the first time ever. I was working full time, but still homeschooling my kids, which is something Mitch had always done. I was suddenly having to cook meals because he has a really physical job and I sit at my desk all day. So like I was the one that was doing so many more things. And so when they were like, you're laid off with 10% of the company, I was like, good, bye. And then I just never went back. I just started freelancing and that was in 2024 and 2024 was a good year. And then everything hit the fan. So.
Yeah. Oh my God, Kait, that is like, I know that the story is not over and that you are still like going through it, but it's such a beautiful story to like have that realization and just like that little part about like the coleslaw piece. Like, I feel like I was standing there in the garden with you.
Yeah. Like shout out to my friend Audrey. She's not on LinkedIn. But she's the coleslaw queen and I just love her. Max, I don't know what the definition of the word hobo is, but sure, if we were. But
you know, the nomad.
Yeah, that was the correct term. And there's about 1 million people in the United States that live that lifestyle. It's a pretty big community. It's just pretty fun.
Ambreen did ask a good question and said, aren't companies for whom you do storytelling writing discriminate you because you're so outspoken against corporate America?
Yes, I believe so. I do not. So,
yes.
So full disclosure, I don't. Last year, I tried really hard to get marketing and storytelling clients and to do user-generated video. I worked with a company that was working on workplace justice. It was a workplace justice software that helped people with their documentation for their discrimination cases. And I tried to do fundraising to help with that effort and whatever. And it is a slog out there. Corporate America is not interested in paying people to change it. And a lot of business people the things I talk about are just kind of alienating. And I'm not saying that the code cannot be cracked. I believe it has. There are many people out there who are outspoken, who have clients. It is possible to find values aligned clients 100%. But I am a writer and a reader and a thinker and a talker and a listener and a synthesizer of ideas. I don't want to sell. I don't want to do operations. Like I'm so burned out on all the things that I used to be really good at that like, I just want to create and have fun. And so, the answer is probably like, yes, it's definitely made it harder, but also it's also probably me. Like if you're also like interested in selling and can get on that, then I believe in you. You got this. But for me, it's like, I'm going to go over here with my daughter at her school and I'm going to work in their library and be around books all day and inspire the next generation, and help build literacy and critical thinking skills. Cause I think that's part of what got us into this mess here. And if people are more literate and think more critically, then they are less likely to walk into corporate America and not recognize the things that I didn't see until much later than I wish I would have seen them. And then I'm just going to keep writing, and I'm going to see where that takes me and see what happens. So yeah.
I mean, I think that's the best way to go about getting like the true happiness that goes along with like making money and somehow still living with yourself and not feeling like you're selling yourself out by doing it.
Yeah, totally. And like for me, like one of my biggest challenges is like my husband is like a blue collar worker, right? But I always felt kind of like because I'm a big advocate for working class people and for people that work in sectors like education and healthcare and more service oriented roles. And I care about those people, and I think they should be paid a lot more. And I think their work is totally undervalued. And I'm happy that I get to go work in education now. But I can actually walk in those shoes in a way I've never done before. I don't actually like, I can empathize with those people, and I've read their stories and I've heard those stories, and I have friends and family members that are educators, but now I can go live it and I can get that experience too. And I think that makes me a stronger advocate. And it's something I believe in. So, yeah.
Yeah. Max said Kate finally took a breath after 10 minutes.
Yeah, totally.
But no, again, like I said before, like your way of storytelling and how you speak, it doesn't seem like we're just sitting here listening to you. Like, it's good. Never stop.
Thank you. I will never stop until there is nothing left to fix. And I'm like Hamilton, that quote from Hamilton where they're like, I will never be satisfied or whatever. That's me. So when we get done with the big problems of fixing corporate America, I'm sure I'll find little ones to be dissatisfied with too. So,
yeah.
I don't know, Max, about how I've never actually had any trouble with, I think I've had like one comment deleted ever, and I felt like so bad about it because I'm like such a like rule follower little person. So I was like so ashamed, and then like people were like, "You didn't even say anything. LinkedIn is bananas." And so then I was okay. But thankfully, I've never been banned. I did get one guy banned who was just he
probably deserved it.
He did deserve it. Let's just say that. Anyways, we'll leave it there. So yeah.
What are you growing in your garden? What did you grow this summer? Is it still growing? I don't know what's in season or how that works, I guess.
Yeah, so we're in Chicago, so our growing season is really different than when we were in North Carolina. In North Carolina, we grew any and everything, and we were growing all year long. Even in the winter, we grew like crimson clover and cover crops and things like that. This year, the garden is pretty small. We were focusing more on hiking all the forest preserves in our county. But I'm looking at my garden because I can actually see it like right from this window. And the squash bed is right out there. And we've got these birdhouse squash that are like so cute, and they're growing up a trellis, and they actually look like little birdhouses. They're cute.
Aww.
So yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Who's Kat? Kat Wells. Okay, she doesn't follow any rules. Kat, we're going to have to become friends after this. I like that.
You would very much like Kat Wells. She is like a chaotic goblin, but like in a really good way. Amazing. Not that there's a bad chaotic goblin, but like you know the vibe.
Yeah, I know.
It would fit right into the classic weird LinkedIn.
Yes.
So
that's awesome. Great.
What's next for you? What's your plan?
Yeah, good. That's just a good question, and it changes. Like if you talk to me in like 3 weeks, I'd probably have a different answer. But right now, school starts in a few weeks. Like I said, working in the library there, so I'm really excited about that. And then, yeah, in terms of what's next, I don't know. I've been thinking for a while. Like I think I'd like to develop like a keynote or two, and maybe something about like how people pleasing is like really bad for marketers. Like I spent so long in marketing people pleasing. And so what that means is I would learn what the sales team wanted from marketing and what legal wanted from marketing and what finance wanted from marketing and all the teams. And then I would try to design marketing programs to please all of those people, which of course cannot even be done. But that in and of itself is not, cross-functional collaboration is good, and gathering multiple perspectives and finding a solution that works for everyone is good. But the problem I always missed was my responsibility as a marketer to advocate for the customer, even when it was not with sales or finance or whatever wanted to hear. That part, I think, especially for a lot of women, is really hard. And so I think there's maybe something there. I don't know. So I'm just, but then I'm also like really interested in like family systems theory, which sounds weird because we're talking about corporate America, but I genuinely believe that the problems that I talk about and the themes that I cover are interpersonal and they're systemic. And so we can't fix them like there's not going to be like one hero that comes and saves the day or something. Like it's going to have to be like system wide, like lots of people learning new ideas and then implementing those new ideas into how they show up. And some of those ideas are really, really small. And so I think when we think about a problem that's as big as tackling corporate greed or the consolidation of wealth and power, we think we need big solutions, and we do, but often those big solutions start with little tiny behavioral changes that spread at scale. So something in there too, and how like family systems theory can help in workplaces that claim their families, which they should just really stop doing. But I understand the kind of metaphor there. So I don't know.
Yeah. No, those are both like really interesting. Now I want to talk about both of them. Okay. Well, with the marketing one, first of all, Bree had mentioned hell yeah it is in like all caps, so she feels you on that one.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, Bree, it's so hard. Because if you do advocate for your customer as a woman, especially, it's like if you have a good idea, someone else steals it. If you have a good idea, but it goes against the CEO's idea of a good idea, then you're crazy. Or you're whatever. I mean, I've heard it all. And I don't use the word crazy to describe it lightly. They will literally attack your sanity. So like it's tough out there, and I understand why people don't do it and why it's really, really hard for people to do it. And that's not everywhere. Like you can't paint all of corporate America with a broad brush. I have had managers who wanted to have serious conversations and wanted to have multiple perspectives in the room. That exists, but it's still way too hard in way too many places.
Yeah. I haven't been in like the direct marketer role, just done the marketing from like the personal aspect, but I definitely know that feeling of having to try to please everyone and to find a solution that does please everyone. And I can imagine, as you keep saying, like women especially, like I'm assuming like you've come across men in marketing that like don't necessarily run into that issue of like necessarily standing up against like, no, this is how it should be because this is my goal as the marketer.
Yeah, I think men are just they're more respected, and they're also more assertive, and they're taught to be more assertive, and they're celebrated for being more assertive. So they get away with a lot more, and they try a lot more. They take more swings with it than women do, because they're rewarded for doing it, not because they're better or braver or whatever, just because like if they don't do it, then they're seen as weak. Whereas with women, it's the opposite. If they do it, they're seen as like too much and whatever. So it's But I also know a lot of men in and around marketing too, though, who talk about the same issues I do and receive the same pushback. So I also think it's a bit about the content you're trying to deliver. Like if you're a marketer going in there and you just the CEO wants to do something that is totally off the wall and makes no sense strategically, and you present a good case, then you're probably going to get that through. But if you go and say, you said we're a single-use water conglomerate challenger, we're not going to, whatever, why are you selling out to them? You're going to get laughed out of the building, because that's not how corporate America works. So it depends on like the content of what you're actually trying to advocate for too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm with you on that part too. Like, I can't imagine like staying with a company after they were to like switch gears like that on something that I stand on. So like,
yeah, well, and they drilled it into you as an employee too, of like, we should be so proud because we're doing this thing. And then I'm like, and then you stop and you expect me to like still be, but that was a weird situation too, because when the company did get bought, the bigger company was like, okay, well, y'all have to move to where our company is headquartered now, otherwise you're fired. And I said, fire me then, because I'm not. I loved North Carolina and I'm not going. But then COVID happened, like literally like 2 or 3 weeks later, COVID happened and everyone went remote. And they were like, just kidding. You don't have to go to Atlanta. You can stay if you want. And so I did for like 2 months. And then I left and went somewhere else. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
They really tried to get you to move, and then the universe said, never mind.
No thanks. Yeah. What is up in the comments here? I'm just trying to catch
up. Max is trying to steal my podcast guests, as he always does.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Brianna said, women in corporate world like keeping their feet on other women's necks. I will die on that hill.
Yeah,
that's true. Like, I've had so many like women do me wrong in corporate settings, and I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, I'm here with you.
Yeah,
I'm standing for you. I've had your back.
Yeah, I've experienced that too, and it's brutal because it. No offense to the men listening, I'm sure you're wonderful, but you kind of expect it. And to me, with the women, it kind of really came out of left field. Like, it was very surprising, and that made it really hard. So.
Yeah. I talked to my friend earlier, and they had let go of someone that was a woman that was doing that to me today.
Okay.
From my job, so I was like,
revenge is sweet.
A little bit like vengeance. Like, finally, got my lick back a little bit.
Yeah, feel that.
But never want anyone to be unemployed. But she wasn't great. So,
I feel you.
Yeah. What? When did you get started on LinkedIn? And what was the reasoning?
Yeah. So, okay. So can we talk about AI on your podcast? So like I said, I was working at not my last job, but the last job before my last job that I worked at for about 3 years that really defined my whole philosophy as a marketer, which was all about authentic storytelling and real voices of real people and moving beyond polished personas, telling real stories. That was drilled into me from 2020 when I left that water bottle company until 2023 when I left this SaaS company. It's all about lifting up the authentic voices of real people. It's not about talking points or anything like that. This is what the future of marketing is. The future of marketing is lifting up the voices of real people. Okay. So that had become my whole mantra. And I took that with me into my next jobs. I took that with me into my freelance business. And in early 2025, I looked around at the state of the world, not political, but just the state of the world. And I said, it is time for some not polished corporate stories for real. Like, we need to hear real people who are experiencing really bad stuff talk about what they're going through so that others can understand them. So in B2B marketing, like, I think you see a lot about authenticity on LinkedIn, right? Like, everyone's talking about it, whatever. But it's actually like researched that content that is based on your lived experience and that uses real emotion is more memorable, it's more relatable, it sticks with people longer, and it's more likely to move markets. So and also I had the company that I had worked with back in 2022 had done a lot of work around DEI, because if there's marketers here, they'll remember, but like DEI was like really trendy for a little bit there. It was like everybody was talking about it. Every company wanted to prove that they were, you know, on the right side of this issue and that they were inclusive and all these things. And when DEI started being attacked, I was like, I watched all of these institutions, these associations who I had seen just 2 years ago stand up and say, we believe in this. When the tides changed, say, I'm going to keep my mouth shut about it now. And I'm not a DEI expert, and I know there's lots of opinions about it, and it's, you know, whatever. But the watching people go from I support it to now, if I support it, my funding is at risk, so I'm going to say nothing, was no. We're not going to do that. We're all going to stand up at the same time. We're going to do exactly what we did in 2022. And we're going to say we stand for this because we stand for this. That's what we're going to do. Let's do that. So I took my freelance business and I tried to go and replicate the campaigns that we had built in 2022 and do them again. And no one would do it. Everyone was too scared. And people were like, why are you even asking us to do this? This is risky. This is stupid. It's not where the market is. It's not where the culture is. What is wrong with you? And then everything started happening at Mitch's work too on top of it. And so I was just like, whatever. So I just, and so before then, the reason I even started with AI is because that company that I was with in 2022, at the end of 2022, when ChatGPT came out, I was the marketing team. We were a really small startup. It was like 15 people. So there were 2 of us on the marketing team, and they were like, we're going to use AI so that we can pump out more content and we can like keep up and we can blah, 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 all the things. And you're going to help us create scripts for our salespeople so that they can go out on LinkedIn and create content, and it'll take 2 seconds. I'm like, whatever. So I was doing that before it was cool. And then before it was deeply uncool. And I got to a point last year where I had forgotten. I remember telling my dad, I don't remember how to write. I don't know what's real. I don't know, when I look out at the world and see all this stuff that's happening, I don't know how to assess who is lying and who is telling the truth. I don't know how to think critically. I don't know how to write anymore. AI stole that from me. It actually, when they say that it takes away your ability to think critically and write, it really does. At least it did for me. Everyone is not like me, but if you are a writer and a written processor like I am, it really does. And I hadn't been using my own voice for 2 years. And then I was talking about these issues that were really sensitive culturally, and I was really afraid. And I was afraid to ask AI to help me write about why we should be doing DEI programs in 2025. Write about why Elon Musk is an idiot. I was afraid that something would happen to me, like that I would get put on some list or something. When I look back on it now, I'm like, oh my God, like it wasn't that serious. Like no one's like ever, so many people would be on lists or whatever, but I was really afraid. And that fear, I was like, well, I just can't use AI. I can't tell it these things because I don't trust it, that I won't get put on a list. So then I had to start thinking for myself. And I had to start writing for myself. And I was just so backed into a corner, both with my own colleagues who were like, what are you doing? You've gone off the rails. And my husband's colleagues who had went from calling him Mitch the Machine and saying he was so amazing and we're on your side and whatever, to saying, here's a final written warning because we don't like you anymore because you stood up and said, I'm not doing that. And so I just went on LinkedIn and I was like, you know what? I believe in real stories. It's time I start using mine instead of using AI. If I'm going to be telling you to talk about authenticity and use your real voice, I should like live that and do it. And in the process of doing that, I started meeting people. The Weird LinkedIn community caught me. If Weird LinkedIn didn't exist, I don't know what would have happened because I was so alone, like so deeply, profoundly alone and so afraid of my husband's about to lose his job. All of my freelance clients think I'm bananas and do not support me. We are going to lose our house and we have kids. What are we? Not our house. Sorry, we were renting at this time. But like we are going to lose our place of living. What are we going to do? And thankfully, LinkedIn caught me and I met a lot of people who helped me. They didn't just agree with me. They didn't enable me. They didn't tell me everything I wanted to hear. They challenged me. They helped me think, well, you're saying you want people to do this. You do it. You live it. You be that. And I had enough conversation. I think I had 40 coffee chats a month on average in 2025. It was a lot. And you do that enough times and you get enough perspectives and you get enough people telling you things in their own way and it starts to sink in. And yeah, so that's why I've grown so much and that's why I'm here. So I'm so thankful. I don't like social media in general. I'm not on any other platform other than LinkedIn, but it is a really good place to find community of people who understand you.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And like what you're saying with like the real stories, the authenticity, that being memorable, like that is because that is why like you are literally the example of it. Like when I was telling people about you, it's based on the posts that you write from your heart, from your head, not that you had copied and pasted from AI.
Yeah. Thank you.
So no, it is powerful. And I know the exact feeling that you're talking about where like you lose that like ability to critically think. Yeah. And now I'm like, I'm only using it for these things. Like I am so like,
yeah, totally. Yeah.
Deliberate in like what I'll use it for and what I won't, just because I never want to, lose that. That doesn't feel good.
Yeah, no, it was really scary. It was profoundly disappointing. I was an English major, for goodness sake. If I can't do critical thinking, what can I do? It was so disorienting. And I thought I had lost it forever. If you're feeling anything like that, like, no, you haven't. You can, the brain is a beautiful thing. You'll get it back. You just have to practice. Just start and you just keep going. You'll be fine. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kimberly will be living in her car in 2022. It's interesting because these things that I talk about, like so many people, the Great Resignation, right? It was like a huge thing in 2021. And like so many people just were completely disillusioned during COVID times and just like had a reality check in a big way. So I don't know. So many of the things, it's so universal. I think that's the other thing I want to highlight here is like, when you hear someone like me talk, just remember that there are so many other people out there who have similar stories that rhyme, but they just either they're not a writer, they don't whatever. But you're just the feeling that you're alone or that you're strange or that you're whatever is such an illusion. It's not real.
Yeah. And LinkedIn is a great place, genuinely is a great place to be able to find people that like you can share that struggle with. Totally. That like will understand where you're coming from.
Totally.
Like when I got laid off the first time, like it was literally, I felt so alone, and that was why I started posting. I was like, all right, well, I need to go and like do something. I need to take care of this.
I love Ambrine's comment in here about our parents should have drummed into us that we need to work on our own business while we've got jobs. Like I wanted to go freelance for the first time in 2020. But I couldn't figure out how to do it because we needed the health insurance and I was the only one working. And I was when you're in corporate, I don't know if it's like this in every field, but in marketing, I do not work 9 to 5. I work always. There is always some fire to be put out. And even if I'm not sitting at a desk, I'm thinking about that strategic campaign that needs to be built, or that shipment of postcards that needs to be shipped, whatever. I worked so much. And then I had kids. And my kids were really young and whatever. And I wanted to start my own business. And I had lots of friends who were like, you should do this. Like I had a personal trainer who was like, saw my interest in gardening and local food and was like, you should make food, like local food boxes of health foods from the local community here to sell to my clients. You should do that. I had a lot of people like trying to like pull that out of me. And the level of like, I was hustling all the time. I was giving my job 150% when I shouldn't have. And I had nothing left at the end, barely enough left for my kids and my husband at the end of the day, let alone to even start my own business. So my advice to people, like Ambreen's totally right. We should, like, if you're working in corporate America today and you're like, I hate this place, I need to get out of here, you should be starting your own business now, because whatever is happening with this job market is like bananas. So like you should do that if you can. And one of the ways to make sure that you can is to not give corporate 150%. Don't do that. Work your hours and then stop. They don't deserve more of you. And if they want more of you, then they should pay you hourly, or they should increase your salary for whatever hours, the ungodly amount of hours that you're working. If they don't do that, which they're not going to, then stop giving them more. Invest it in yourself instead. They will fire you anyways. It will not protect you. It won't save you. It won't help you. Like, you being good and going the extra mile won't save you. I can say that with confidence because I promise you that was me, and it doesn't work. So don't do it.
And it's so hard when you're used to being that person that does give the 110%, that always wants to go the extra mile and like prove themselves to not do that. But like, no, I'm with you 100%. I've been laid off freaking 3 times. I know.
Yeah.
Like, give the effort to yourself. Like, you deserve it more than this company. What did they do for you?
Yeah, totally.
For the work that you do, like they should. Like,
come on, no, it's not. You just can't. No, and that is so hard. And I think there's a lot of people, like especially people like us, who are not just want to be that person and want to go above and beyond, but also who care about values and ethics and join companies because they believe in them. And they like, if you join a company because you believe in its mission, you want to give it your all, and more than your all. But like, you just can't. Sorry.
Yeah.
You just can't.
Yeah. Drew said, Kate for president. Can we expect you to be running in 2028?
Yeah, I'm totally an AOC challenger. I can totally take her on. No, I'm just kidding. That is wild. I would like to be, I always talk about, I'm like Hamilton again, my Hamilton references, but I want to be George Washington's right-hand man, but like not George Washington, like a good guy. Not that George Washington wasn't a good guy. Jeez, I'm going bananas here. I'm going off. I'm just saying that I want to be the president's right-hand man. Okay, that's all.
I got you. I don't know what that position is called. The president's bestie.
Yeah.
Baby.
Yeah.
Bestie to the president.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Let's do that. And I want Maggie Snyder, my podcast co-host, for president. I actually think she like wants the job. So look for that in like the 2020s.
I love Maggie. We can have Maggie as president. I'm for it.
Yeah.
Let's just have Maggie and Kate as joint like leadership for the country.
Yeah. That sounds amazing.
I would happily live in that US.
Yeah. That sounds incredible.
Well, I'm coming up on your podcast. Who else do you have scheduled as guests coming up?
You are coming up on our podcast, and we are coming up on our season 1 break. Although we haven't officially decided our season 1 break, so I don't know. But actually, you're our last scheduled guest. So for season 1. So I don't know.
Wow.
Well, actually, so we
close out.
Yeah, well, last week we recorded with Paul Ladipo, and his episode is coming out next week. So if you subscribe to the podcast, you'll see his episode next week, and then you'll see Cassidy's the week after.
I am already subscribed. Do you have the link pulled up to drop in the comments so that people can find it?
I do not, but look at me. I can get it really quickly. I said I do, and then I was like, nope, this is going to take me. Oh, why is it like making me? I'm like trying to join the chat so I can actually like comment here.
Is it making you sign in? I'll pull it up. I can pull up honestly though.
Here, I dropped it in your DMs in LinkedIn if that's easier for you.
There you go, everyone. There's Kait and Maggie's podcast.
Serena, yes, please write all our speeches. Oh my gosh, I am like, let's just make. I wildly do not want to be president. I am literally dying about all of this, and I feel like I answered that question so awkwardly because I got in my like Hamilton phase and stuff, and then I got just like so confused. So, just
I picked up on it. You don't want president.
I'm gonna go take. I like need to go take a shower and just like wash off that whole bit of the segment. So
forget it happened.
Yeah,
tell me what you're thinking about when you're going to bed. Oh, God,
exactly.
No.
Yeah. I'll probably write about it on LinkedIn in 2 weeks. Like, have you ever said something you really regretted saying and then totally lost your shit on live LinkedIn? I have. Watch for that one, folks. Okay.
You know what? I can do you one better. I'll make it into a short.
Oh my God.
Post.
Oh my God. If you do, I'm going to like find the worst clip that we record on the podcast tomorrow and do the same to you. How about that?
It's only fair. Yes, we're just so many YouTubers in our community. Have you seen that she started a series too, the Dear Me series?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, she has a bunch of people they write letters to themselves and like read it. And it's very, very it's emotional, to be honest. Like, I'm supposed to write a letter for this and be on it, and I haven't been able to.
That's really beautiful. What a special way to help people get in touch with themselves and to share those authentic stories. That's so good. I love that so much.
I know. I need to do better with my letter, but every time I go to write it, I get emotional. I'm like, okay, I'll come back to it.
Yeah. Get it.
So eventually she's gonna run out of other guests and be like, Cassidy.
It's now or never. Yeah, come on.
So you know, it's coming.
Do you have merch, Cassidy? I must know more about that too.
I don't have merch. I'm going to have merch. I'm working on merch. I have this really cool shirt idea that I need Serena to make for me. Because she's a graphic designer and I'm not.
Uh-huh.
But I have this idea of Mickey like Godzilla, like over a town.
Okay. Very nice.
That'd be so good.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Want to see it?
So it's in the works. I gotta work on that. But I did say I would shout out other people's merch.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Kathleen Byram had just announced that she released some merch.
Okay.
Her big line is saying to love everybody, but she spells the buddy as Buddy. Like
Aww. Yeah.
It's very, very cute.
That's so sweet. I love that.
And Serena recently released merch for her series too, and the merch looks really good. Like, I'm jealous of how it turned out. But it gives me ideas for mine.
Nice. That's awesome. I love all that. Okay. I got to go check it out. Get some inspo for Maggie and I's show. I like that.
I know. And then when you guys have merch for your show, you'll have to send it to me too so that I can see that too.
That sounds amazing.
I could see all of us rocking honestly though caps.
I know. I've been thinking we need weird LinkedIn merch too for like a long time. Like I'm just like I need like a t-shirt that's like weird LinkedIn saved my life or something. I don't know, but it's true.
I know. We need like someone to do it and then just all the proceeds from it to go to somewhere because there's not really like.
Yeah.
no one should be necessarily profiting off of this, like,
Yeah, totally. That's always been
necessarily, but like, I get what you're saying.
I want the merch, the business part of it. I'm not. No, thank you. I'm not interested in it. Someone else can decide where the money goes. I just want a shirt.
Right. Well, you made it through the hour. I'm proud of you.
Woo, we did it. Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
Of course. What are your closing thoughts?
Just people are awesome. Community is awesome. There was so much going on in the chat, and I kind of, you've seen me now for an hour. I get on a roll, and I just get on a roll. But I appreciate just everyone being out there and supporting each other and relating to one another. I think it's awesome. So go forth and continue telling your stories, people.
Absolutely. Oh, that was such a nice closing note. I love that.
Oh, okay.
Well, thank you everyone that came and counted and was watching the stream. Thank you, Kait, for your time and coming on the Podcassidy. Loved having you. Loved hearing your stories. Absolutely adore you. Amazing. My next Podcassidy will be on Friday. And yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Cassidy. See you Friday.
Have a good evening.
All right.